Hi, I'm Rita Wilkins, also known as the Downsizing Designer. It's Tuesday night, and I am excited to be here with you tonight. It's just a few days before Christmas. The holiday season is definitely upon us. And I don't know about you, but I'm committed to not giving a lot of gifts this year, as in the past few years, and giving more experiences or very small, meaningful gifts that will be well thought out. And for me, there's no more scrambling around at the last minute for gift ideas because I've been thinking about them. And actually what I'm going to do tonight is to give you a list of a few things that will not add clutter to homes, but rather it will add knowledge and information that might be useful. So for me, books, whether hardback, paperback, or audio, are my go-to gifts, especially if they like to read like I do. So I've compiled a short but powerful list of my top reads and recommendations for anyone who is on a decluttering and downsizing journey, or just wanting to simplify their life. They might be minimalists already, or they might be on the journey to just really enjoying the idea of living with less. So these are gifts that they can read, gather and garner the information from it, and then pass them on to someone else who might also be on that journey. So here are my top 5 book recommendations. So the first one, and you might have heard me talk about this before because it always rises to the top for me. It's called Declutter Like a Mother. It's a guilt-free way to declutter your home and your life. It's by Ali Kasaza. And one of my favorite books of all times because the author is vulnerable. She admits the raw and the real emotions of how clutter was impacting her life. And she was constantly overwhelmed just trying to help keep up and maintain with some small children in the house. So the problem was that she thought she was the only one who was experiencing this kind of feeling, and she had, one day an aha moment and realized that she and her family were drowning in stuff that they didn't need or didn't use. And that was the beginning of her decluttering journey. And from that moment, she started decluttering like a mother, name of her book, one room at a time. So it's a great read for all of us, but especially for those of you who might have young families who feel that it's almost hopeless to try to declutter with kids. And believe me, we've all been there, and I certainly understand the sentiment, but there are ways to keep clutter to a minimum when you have children. The second book that I would like to recommend is Declutter at the Speed of Life. It's by Dana White, and her tagline is winning your never-ending battle with stuff. So personally, I love Dana's approach because she's kind of a get-it-done kind of girl. She's committed to helping people win their battle with too much stuff, just as she did. And a few of her mantras that can help make quick decisions. Oftentimes we get bogged down when we're trying to declutter and it takes us longer to decide. But if you can fine-tune this methodology, your decluttering will go much faster. So one of the mantras is, if you need it, or I need something, where can I find it? So in other words, if you don't know where you can find it, you probably don't need it. Everything should have a home. Everything should have a place. Another one is, if you don't wear it, use it, just get rid of it. So you can see she's kind of a bottom line kind of girl too. And the last one is, do you really need it if you already have another one just like it? So when you think about, a red sweater, I happen to have a few red sweaters because I like red, but if you have several of something, just think, do I really need it? And these kind of mantras, if you just keep them in your head, any decision will help you go a little bit faster. And one of her top motivating decluttering techniques is to imagine that you're moving. And I've used this technique myself, and actually I've moved a couple of times. But this mindset creates a sense of urgency, like the trucks are in the driveway, they're ready to start packing your stuff and moving them. It creates a deadline that helps you develop a more ruthless approach to decluttering, decision making, and just getting it done. And the third book that I'd love to recommend is called The Burning House. What would you take? Now, you might have been asked this question in your life. Hopefully, you'll never have to deal with a decision like that. But what if you did? So as you declutter your things, you're going to likely come across many treasures given to you by your kids or passed down from your parents or your family. Answering this question, what would you take if your house were burning, helps you prioritize and prepare in the event that an emergency does occur, whether it's a fire, a flood, a tornado, a hurricane. All of those things do happen, and we never think they're going to happen to us, but sometimes they do. So what I found particularly interesting, and it's due to the digital age, is that when this inquiry was done over a number of years, 68% would take their iPhone or their phone, 38% would take their computer, and only 6% their family photos or heirlooms. I find that particularly interesting, but it probably has a lot to do with our age and our need for our phones now. It is a sign of the times. It's revealing and a thought-provoking read, well worth your time. And number 4 is The Gentle Art of Death Cleaning by Margareta Magnuson. You might have heard me talk about this a number of times because I talk about it a lot. It's on how to free yourself and your family from a lifetime of clutter. The reason I talk about this all of the time is because it addresses a sensitive subject head on that many people just keep not talking about. And that's dealing with your parents' stuff sooner than later. And so that your kids won't have to deal with it when you're gone. The author's approach is actually funny and it's uplifting rather than serious and morose. Even though the subject sounds morose, it's the subject we have to talk about, and as baby boomers, we have more time behind us than we do ahead of us. So if you have been thinking about talking to your kids, or kids, if you've been thinking about talking to your parents about this touchy subject, read this book and don't put it off any longer before it's too late. And the 5th book that I would like to recommend, by the way, I've read these all several times, and that's why I keep bringing them up. But this one is called The Joy of Less. It's a minimalist guide to declutter, organize, and simplify by Francine Jane. You've all heard me say less is more. That's actually what my TED Talk was about several years ago. And that's how I'm trying to continue to live my life. And the impact of having less, living with less, is profound. It changes you and it changes your life. And this book continues to inspire that journey to live a simpler life with less, especially with the tips on streamlining and editing, which is an ongoing process. So even though you've decluttered, you probably have realized that there's still more. And even 7 years into this, downsizing and decluttering, I still find things that I just don't need anymore. And so it's edit, edit, edit. It's an ongoing process. So just when you think you're done, there's always one more thing or 5 more things. It's a foundational book on decluttering and minimizing your home and your life. So if you'd like to purchase any of these books, either for you or for someone in your life, they are available on Amazon. And I'd love to hear back from you and hear what you think. So as an added bonus, though, I didn't want to get away without sharing with you a few ideas for, it's a short list of clutter-free gifts for the minimalist in your life or people that just, don't want to add more clutter to their life. They're useful, they're meaningful, and they're memorable. Experience type gifts. They might be last minute, but they're certainly worthy of some attention. So I hope that these help you with your ideas for someone on your list. The first one is a Kindle or an Audible membership. Really invaluable if you're a reader. Others are theater and concert tickets. I never say no to those, so they're always welcome in my household, and I know that many of my family and friends welcome that as well. Certainly a restaurant gift card, and it might well be that you just take them to dinner. That way you can have time together and experience that. A gym membership, something I just gave my family, and so they'll have swimming lessons and everything else for my granddaughter. And then the Echo Dot with a clock. This is something I've been recommending a lot to my baby boomer friends who might be living alone, because it's just more of a safety feature of being able to call 911. Another one is the Omni photo stick. On one photo stick, you can manage almost all of your photos. And then a date night babysitting. This is one I'd love to give to my son and his wife, because I also get to have the advantage of having my granddaughter stay over. And then lessons of any kind, whether it be golf or pickleball or dance lessons. And then last but not least, cooking lessons. So if you have a chef in your family and they want to learn more about certain types of cooking. So I hope that these help, and I certainly wish all of you a blessed holiday. I will be talking to you again next week on Tuesday evening at 7 p.m. Thanks. Have a good night.